How's it going, guys? Matt here with Carolina Coops. Welcome to Video Chicken. To my left is my host, Kristen Warren.
I think this one really could be a male.
Oh, we got one that's hatching? This show is for you guys. This is the bass fiber. Y'all know chickens are the gateway drug into homesteading.
We survived with only one trip to the ER.
Coyotes are everywhere.
It's about time you show up, Matt.
Uh-huh.
It's a great straw.
It is time, finally, for chicken police. They defecate every 12 seconds. Is that true? Now it is officially noon because the buzzer went off.
Well, I've never counted.
That's long
More
road.
coops.
That's a good one with the courts and everything.
And more chickens.
Well, the math you do now, Daddy, is chicken math.
Calm down, Matt.
But-
Calm down.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to Video Chicken Live. This is Matt. I'm sure you guys know who I am. And to my left, our chickenista, Kristen.
Hello.
She is here. I think you were here sitting before I was. Behind the computer
It happens.
is Ingrid, making sure everything looks good, sounds good. We have a phenomenal show today. Look at, huh?
Goosebumps.
That's how excited I am about today's show. So we're going to give you guys some time to get in here, as always, but we're going to go ahead and get the show started. There's already 21 people in here. Thank you so much. We noticed at about 12:15 is when we get a lot of people in here. So I appreciate you being here on time. We're going to give some more time for people to come in. Today's show is going to be awesome
Yes.
because I'm looking forward to, hopefully, I know I'm going to learn a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I brought my notebook.
Of course you did.
Yes.
Of course you did. So today, already in the green room, we have Dr. Crespo, who has a lot of letters after her name. So when we bring her in, we're going to start talking about 12:15 with her. And we want to specifically talk about a subject that's in the news a lot, and that is the avian flu. And the truth be told, I really don't know much about the avian flu.
I've heard bits and pieces of information, and some of it contradictory, so I'm excited about this as well.
Yes, because here's the deal. It's a hot subject right now.
It is.
And I imagine there's a lot of opinions. And what I love about doctors, with all these wonderful letters after their name, they know their stuff. Mm-hmm. And what we wanted to do is share with you guys the doctors that are experts in poultry and talk specifically about avian flu. So I got a lot of questions. I can't wait to hear what they have to say. But as always, this show is for you guys. So we are live. It is April 8th. And at about 12:15, we're going to bring Dr. Crespo in and potentially two other doctors. There's potentially Dr. Michael Martin from NC State Veterinarian.
Right.
And also Dr. Rebecca. I love this last name. Dr. Rebecca Mansell.
Yeah, she
Doesn't
can
that-
join us.
doesn't
She's
that-
with the Department of Agriculture.
Make sure all the levels are good. Ingrid, bring that mic a little bit closer to you. I really like to hear when Ingrid is like, hey. All right, sorry. Potentially three doctors coming in, but Dr. Crespo's already here. 12:15, we're going to go ahead and get started. I see the audience is coming in. Again, today we are live. It is April 8th, and we are going to be talking about avian flu.
And other chicken health things. I have some questions from Instagram as well.
Oh, I didn't know we were going to deviate from avian flu. I don't know if we're going to have that kind of time on our hands.
Well,
Well,
You know the best part of the promo?
What?
And I'm looking at Dr. Crespo down in the green room, and Dr. Crespo came up in the
Yes,
promo, and I
yes.
see her smiling.
we used that clip.
Yes, that was pretty cool.
Ingrid did. She did a great job on that.
Yes, and I think we're going to update the promo again soon because we have even more great content. Mm-hmm. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. And also, before I forget, let me get my mug. Nan has been killing this frothy, I don't know how she's doing it, this coffee. I probably had already too much this morning, but what the hell. Don't forget, we have the wonderful Golden Bell. If you haven't been to the show before and understand what this is, I love when someone gives a phenomenal comment or has just a great question because they're contributing to the show. Even though our first Golden Bell winner was because he made me laugh like crazy. But hey, that works too. We're keeping an eye on the comments. If you have questions or comments, leave them down in the comment section so we can get to them, especially if you have questions about avian flu. And you have a chance that if I ring this Golden Bell.
No, I did it once, right?
And rightfully so.
Yes,
Rightfully so. I mean, I
yes.
was really hoping the guy came up with chicken manure on
Yes.
his nose. But yes, If we ring the golden bell, you can win a free shirt.
I mean, if it was only you would have put it way over there out of my reach.
Oh,
But
there's
it's right
Dr.
here.
Mike Martin calling in. Excellent. All right. So, and I know
He's got limited time. Should we
well,
catch that?
go ahead, Ingrid. So Dr. Mike Martin is coming in too. Also, yes, they have limited time, but I did want to do something real quick. So we got about 10 minutes. I got a surprise for everyone.
Okay.
Are you ready for some surprises? All right. So we're going to remove this golden bell because that's going to get in our way. Here we have sample 1. Here.
But where's the poop?
Oh, you and the chicken poop. I'm beginning to worry about you.
I know.
Here is sample 2, and I'm going to explain why I'm doing this.
Put it closer to you.
I know we gotta change our screenshots here. All right, so we got sample 1, sample 2, sample 3. This is industrial hemp. We talk about this all the time. This is the world's best stuff in the chicken coop, using for bedding. A lot of people use it for horses. Well, truth be told, I can already see the difference. Wow. I love who we buy the hemp from, but they're in Europe, and I want to get it more affordable, readily available, and looking to buy it from a company that says they have the best product, even better than the French. And of course, they need to prove it to us. And I think they may have. And they sent us a sample, just came in this morning.
Is that this?
It's one of these. Okay, you ready? So we have
Is
3.
this like a taste test?
Please don't. Please don't. I know you would. All right, so real quick, we have our normal hemp that we've been selling. Mm-hmm. Also, from the same manufacturing, we have the cocoon. Now, we don't talk a lot about the cocoon, but it's just a smaller package designed for smaller animals. Not a fan of it at all. And then we have the sample that came from the new company. And I thought before we bring the doctors in to talk about avian flu, I wanted to see. Now, I don't know the answer either.
Well, 2 look the same and 1 looks different.
I know.
So that's pretty easy.
That's how big of a difference this is. Okay, so let's see. What I wanted to do
I could
is...
have brought in a sample.
Yeah, but you're going to have chicken. This is fresh
No,
off
I
the
have
shelf.
fresh in my garage. But that's all right.
Oh, from the Netherlands, the other company. Yeah, we would definitely. You know what? We probably should have, because then you can really see the
Yeah.
quality difference. All right, so which one do you think is the hemp we've been selling? Let's take a look at this. Okay, I'm not sure if on camera you can see it.
No.
They look very similar, but
Yeah.
Oh no! Do I have anyone out there? Can our audience tell us sample 1, sample 2, sample 3? Which one have we been selling? Which one is the potential new product? Can you guys tell us? So I'm going to leave it up to the audience. We're going to leave this right here because I do want to get the doctors in here. I know their time is very valuable. We can't wait to start talking about avian flu. And if you guys have any questions, chicken health related, but I did want to hammer out avian flu because I got a million
absolutely.
questions. So
I brought this in here if you guys want to put a little pile on it and put it closer to
that's actually a great idea. So I tell you what, let's down the road, and maybe about 12:45, maybe 1 o'clock, we will disclose which one's which. Now, Nan has the answers. I don't.
for the first time.
Yeah, they all look pretty similar.
I can just say I'm pretty impressed with what I think it is. All right. So there's that. And again, we are live. It is April 8th. Welcome to Video Chicken Live. Everyone, leave your questions and comments in that comments box. We will get to it today. We are talking about avian flu. Are we ready for the doctors?
I am.
All right. I do need one thing. My headphones got to get turned up just a little bit. Just a little bit. Hopefully we're not going to.
And can you put the comments? Can you switch those 2 panels?
What do you want? Hold on, Ingrid.
The comments on top.
Matt's got the mouse.
Yes. There we go.
Yeah, we don't really need that, do we?
No.
Look at all the comments. What's going on, guys? I'm so glad you guys are here. Are we ready to get started? Are we ready to talk about avian flu?
I'm ready.
All righty. Ingrid, you want to go ahead and bring in, we have Dr. Crespo, who's been on the show before. Dr. Crespo has a lot of letters. She's a DVM. She is a MS, a PhD, which is one of my favorite ones, and a DACPV. And it was funny when I was asking her about this. She's like, that is awesome. Dr. Crespo, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
God, we couldn't be happier. And also, for the first time, we have Dr. Mike Martin. Let's go ahead and bring him in. Now, we've never had 3 windows going, so this is about to be interesting. Hopefully, let's just go add to our right. Maybe we can be in the middle. Or, okay, that works. That
Yeah,
works.
that's fine.
All right, so we are here. Kristen, here, come in a little bit. But,
Okay.
and is it okay if I call you Dr. Michael Martin? Is that okay?
Yeah, whatever. I've been around so many Mikes. I've been around so many Michaels. I just go by whatever anybody calls me. You work.
Well, I appreciate it. Dr. Michael, so I see you work for NC State Veterinarian. No,
I'm the North Carolina State Veterinarian. I work over the Department of Agriculture.
Oh,
that's great.
Okay, well, Ingrid didn't add that note to it. Oh,
yeah,
she
so
just...
I'm the state vet. All this scary disease stuff, it's fallen right in my lap.
Oh, you must be busy.
You guys have to cheat closer together. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, it's a little hot in here, and
Well, you're just gonna have
she
to-
ends up hitting me. Well, Dr. Michael, thank you so much for being here. Dr. Crespo, thank you for being here. I want to just go ahead and get this started. Avian flu. If you guys aren't aware of it, our audience, there's been in the news, national news, avian flu. And what I would like is if Dr. Michael or Dr. Crespo, please explain to us.
It's Dr. Martin.
Dr. Martin, Dr. Martin, in just layman's terms. I am very uneducated when it comes to avian flu, so I'm looking forward to learn a lot here. And I guarantee our audience is the same way. So can one of you explain to us, what is avian flu?
So maybe Dr. Crespo, you can take like some of the background stuff and I can talk about the disease incident so we both have some time to share. How's that?
Sure. That sounds good. Okay, so avian flu is a viral disease that affects birds, affects all species of birds. Some of the viruses, they are cause more severe disease in our poultry, and those are the strains of the flu that we are most concerned about. And right now, we have one of these very virulent viruses that affects our chickens and our turkeys. And North Carolina is a state that it is very agricultural, and poultry is a huge commodity. So having the virus is going to stop us for selling or moving birds anywhere. So we cannot move even out of a state. We do sell eggs to other states. We cannot do it. We may sell overseas meat. We cannot move that product. So that's part of what Dr. Martin will do. And he's in charge of fighting those regulatory fights. But the virus kills the birds, and when the virus comes in, it actually kills them very quickly. So it comes in like other, they don't show clinical signs for a week, 10 days, and then they start to show clinical signs and die. While they don't show clinical signs, they may be shedding the virus and infecting other birds. So when the virus starts to move in the flock, we may have mortalities of up to close to 100% of the birds dying. And they are not showing signs. We may be stepping on the poop on those where the birds are. We move to another flock or to visit friends. And if we don't change shoes, we may actually be passing the virus to our friends with other birds too. So that's...
Okay, that was perfect. Thank you. So it's a form of flu, and it's fatal for the birds if you don't spot it, or you can't spot it, right? They don't show signs until after about 7 to 10 days. And then once they do start showing the signs, is there any way of saving the chickens or the birds, or it's fatal?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, because that was one of my questions is, how do we spot it? And can you help the bird? And
yeah,
that's
so
very...
and that starts getting into kind of more my neck of the realm. So we can try to detect it, but usually through testing. And with this particular virus, it actually came from Eastern Europe, Western Asia, and was circulating around there, causing lots of problems for many months. And there was concerns that this virus, through migratory birds, would migrate north of the European Union, go down into Newfoundland, Canada, and then through another group of migrating birds, come down through the Atlantic Americas flyway and potentially get into our wild bird populations here in North Carolina. So our federal partners over at USDA Wildlife Services started testing very vigorously throughout hunter harvested birds. So they went to hunting sites for wild waterfowl. And know that this virus can sometimes affect different birds in different ways. So for things like ducks and geese and swans, you might have some birds that die, but a lot of these birds may be just typhoid Mary. They just have the disease. They don't show any signs whatsoever, and they just carry it and spread it to other birds. And sure enough, on January 16th of this year, we got our first wild bird positive from this sampling from hunter harvested ducks over in Hyde County. Now, we saw it really again in these coastal counties, but those were sampling sites of convenience, and they were meant to represent the entire flyway, which covers the entire state of North Carolina. So once we had that first positive, we knew it was in our backyard in this state. We knew it was potentially everywhere. And we worked hard to try to keep it out of our domestic birds, both commercially, backyard independent flocks. And all across the country, what we were seeing is other states getting affected by this virus. Commercial farms, backyard farms, we're over 90 commercial farms now that have been affected by this, that are now had to be depopulated because the virus is so bad and it spreads. And I think close to 40 backyard independent flocks across the state. And then at the end of March, we unfortunately had our first domestic birds in North Carolina that tested positive. And that led us to setting up these surveillance zones and everything and trying to track down and contain this virus, which has now affected 8 commercial farms. But I think that the biggest thing for me is we need to stamp this virus out. We need to control it. We need to make sure it doesn't affect any more of our birds. And so like Dr. Crespo was saying about, it can kill these birds. We want to prevent it from getting into everybody's birds, all of your viewers, and they can't just sit there and focus in on, oh, it's in Wayne and Johnston County right now in these commercial flocks. It's in our backyard in this state. And so they need to just be watching their birds, working with veterinarians like Dr. Crespo and others across the state. If they have disease issues where they're worried about mortality, they need to be working with people like Dr. Crespo, other veterinarians that see poultry, and making sure they can get some good information because, we can't be overly concerned at this point. And our vets like Dr. Crespo are critical to helping us kind of go through like what is causing this problem. Is it avian influenza or is it something else? And it's all about the poop. It really is. We think of this virus being spread from these wild birds first and foremost. And anybody who could have come in contact with the droppings from these birds, they need to be thinking of this virus like it's wet paint. And where do I go next after I touch wet paint, right? So I touch this, and if I don't wash up, I'm spreading it everywhere I touch from there on. So wash your hands, change your clothes, dedicated shoes for your poultry. Try to keep them indoors and away from wild birds is what we were strongly messaging.
So actually, you were just starting to talk about what was going to be my next question. I'm sure it's on everyone's mind is what do we do? Now, we focus on the homeowner that has the backyard chickens, typically, 6 chickens, maybe up to 20 chickens on average. I know some have less, some have more, but you get the idea and we are huge advocates of just trying to do everything that makes sense. It's going to make sure the chickens are safe and healthy. And, how long has the avian flu been around? Because I want to feel like I've heard this come up before, but it seems like whatever's going on right now might be worse.
Well over a century, we've known about this virus. Okay. The last time a strain like this hit the United States was in 2015, give or take. And
he froze. So just to follow up, it was in 2014 hit on the West Coast. It was at the end in November. And then it moved to the Midwest in February, March. And it hit most of it. It was commercial poultry at that time. So that was the last outbreak that we have of the virus. We had a little scare in here in North Carolina, South Carolina, in May 2020. It affected 5 flocks only, and it didn't move anywhere else. But now we have this one is spreading all over United States.
Okay, so it's more contagious?
I don't think it's more contagious. I think there are more birds in this area that don't have antibody. They've never been exposed before, and they are shedding the virus more. So like Dr. Mike Martin said earlier, waterfowl like geese, ducks, and swans, they may get infected with the disease and they don't show clinical signs and they shed the virus. If they don't have, they've never been exposed to the virus before, the virus is able to reproduce and they are shedding more of the virus.
Wow, way to step in like boom. I love it. I love that. Thank you, Dr. Crespo, for that. So sorry, Dr. Martin, we lost you there for a minute, and Dr. Crespo was able to just step right in, and she's like, it's like you guys knew exactly what you were going to say.
We know each other very well.
That's awesome. So I tell you,
one thing I want to definitely emphasize, and Dr. Crespo can definitely go into more details and such. Two big things biosecurity-wise these people need to be thinking about. Think about the wet paint and keep your birds indoors when at all possible. Okay, those are like really big biosecurity things your viewers can be doing.
So I'm glad you mentioned that, because again, I really wanted to share with everyone. I want to learn what can we do to prevent this. And also my other question is, when someone thinks their chicken may show signs of avian flu, what is it that they are to do?
Report.
Call Dr. Crespo.
Call Dr. Crespo.
Well, and we're all over the country, so we want to.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that you could be doing. Right now, you could reach out to your federal animal health officials. You could reach out to your state animal health officials. You could reach out to your state diagnostic labs. You could reach out to your local veterinarian. And the reason why I encourage a lot of your viewers to start with your veterinarian on the ground is because they have a really good ability to help sort out some of that initial concern. Is this avian influenza or is there something else going on here? Yes. Whereas we're at the state level, we're really more about response. Hey, is it avian influenza? Okay, great, it's not. And then we're moving down the road. So Dr. Crespo and the vet school and the program she has there are other veterinarians across the state. We've got a list of veterinarians on our website that see poultry. Those are your front line of defense. They give you a lot of good information that goes just beyond avian influenza and this current threat. Dr. Crespo, I'll let you.
I have a question too. I was just wondering if somebody goes to a park and there's wild geese or wild ducks and they're there with their kids or whatever, and they may have gotten poop on their shoes and come back to their chickens. Can it be that contagious that poop sitting in that park you can bring it? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I love the wet paint analogy.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense. And again, I always say don't bring up when I was a bug guy, but I remember biosecurity going into pharmaceuticals and plant factories where we actually had to walk through a sanitary bath with our feet to disinfect our feet. I mean, it's amazing, especially penicillin plants where you could it's amazing what you could have on you. You wouldn't even realize it. So it's really that simple. I love the wet paint analogy, and it's transferred through feces, right? Is that the only way, or is that just the most common way?
Go ahead, Dr. Crespo.
No, it is also transmitted through oral and in the air as well. So when the birds sneeze, they may pass through the mucus. In waterfowl, like I said, they don't show clinical signs. So the virus they take it in either through the nose or the mouth. And then because they survive, if they start pooping everything and they poop the virus to part of the virus. Now, other animals that don't survive as long, it only stays in the upper respiratory or upper digestive tract, and when they are coughing or when they are drinking, they're going to pass the virus. So having water sanitation is important, so to prevent passing the virus or for that matter, any respiratory disease to other animals in the flock. But also we talk about aerosol transmission. So that's how the virus may pass to a little bit farther away. And when we talk about biosecurity, we don't talk just that you have a fence and then the birds are on the other side of the fence. We talk about isolation. So you have birds on one side of your house and the other birds maybe on the other side of the house. So biosecurity is not to have, do you keep a quarantine? So you don't have quarantine if you have then the fence and they can see each other. You have the quarantine has to be isolation completely. So that's a very important too, because they pass through the air. So if, like I say, if they cough or there is infection, even in the litter when it aerosolized and they kind of like dust bathe and everything, that can be aerosolized and move around.
And
so
when
we
you think of all those things that Dr. Crespo mentioned, this is the ways the virus is getting out of the birds. Now you got to think about how's the virus going to get into your birds, right? So is it going to be from direct wild bird contact, people spreading it, vehicles spreading it? You got to think of all these things that we call as fomites, carrying the virus as it comes out of the birds into a naive group of birds. And that's where people need to be thinking.
How long does the virus live in that when it's being transferred? So let's say I go to the park, there's some Canadian geese and I step in the droppings and I didn't realize it. I'm going to come back to my flock later that day. There's that wet paint analogy you talked about if I walk into the chicken coop with the droppings, but is there a lifetime of, I mean, how long does it live after it's out of the animal?
Do you want to respond or I go?
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll let you go.
Okay. So in the lab, if we keep the temperature high, and if many of your listeners make compost litter, and you know that to compost, you have to increase the temperature to above 145. So if in a compost pile, about 145, in 72 hours, you can, I think it's 145 or 160, Dr. Martin, I don't remember.
Yeah, I was hearing, I think the latest ones we use for our compost piles is 131 for 3 days straight.
For 3 days, 72 hours, 100, at least I like to compost at 145 because it also kills other bacteria too that they may affect badly to the birds. So the minimum is 145. 3 days, maintaining at that temperature 3 days, and that's a compost. That is sufficient to kill the virus. Now, you cannot survive at 145 in the environment. It's too hot.
Yes.
So the lower the temperature is, the longer the virus is going to survive. The more moisture that is in the environment, the more the virus can survive. So if that poop stays moist, that virus can survive for 10 days, 15 days, longer. They have talked in the 2014-2015 outbreak that the virus actually survived in the frozen water with the birds, and then when the water defrost in the spring, that's when the virus started to spread. So it actually survived in that frozen water for months.
Wow, cue the doom and gloom music, Ingrid. Wow, I was not expecting that at all.
Okay, so doom and gloom, yes, but avian influenza does work a lot of ways like human influenza does in human populations. And so we are hopeful that there is an actual seasonality to this. Historically, there has been. And so for us, because it's when things get too scary and too intimidating for people, sometimes there's this feeling like, well, why should I bother? It is, like you say, gloom and doom. But what we're really trying to do is to get the other side of this disease event. It is really intimidating right now based upon what's happening nationally and what's happening in North Carolina right now. And we just need people to tighten their belts just to get through to the other side of this season. We are not sure, based upon migratory birds, based upon temperatures, there's a lot of factors that go into it. We're not sure when this season will end, but we need to just get to the end. It's not going to be every day for here on out. And then we learn from it. And then the next season, we know more. We know better how to control this disease than the last time it hit in 2015. So we learn every single time, and we do better every single time, in my opinion.
So we're expecting this to pewter out later this year, like a flu season?
That is the expectation.
Okay. And is that because of the migrating patterns, or?
Partially.
Okay.
But again, there's a lot of factors that go into it. A lot of these migrating birds have already moved out.
Mm-hmm.
But what we saw at the end of our wild bird testing is we started seeing species of birds that are not migratory, that are resident birds that started testing positive for it. So like, for example, when USDA Wildlife Services was testing all those hunter harvested ducks, we had these migratory ducks living in the Carolinas. We're like, oh yeah, we're stuck with it for a while. And all of a sudden we started seeing wood ducks getting positive for this virus. Well, wood ducks oftentimes are resident birds. And so that suggests then, yeah, this is going to be with us a little bit longer than just the migratory pathway. There's going to be some other factors like, again, the flu season, temperatures, things like that, that are going to be a role.
So I think we have also have a lot of questions, but I think when you guys say to keep them indoors, you don't mean have our like backyard flock in our living room watching Netflix and chilling. So I'm thinking that there are, what exactly do you mean when you say keep them indoors?
They do have chicken diapers, I've seen.
Well, we know Mike Trapp keeps his chicken inside and watches Netflix and chill with Phyllis, but other than that, most people don't.
Right. In the coop, away from wild birds. Some, again, as best as you can, right? So there was some of the things Dr. Crespo, I know, shared some of the websites where it was like 10 tips on avian influenza.
I have that.
And there's things there that's like, say you have an open enclosure, can you at least tarp the top so that wild birds flying overhead don't put droppings, poop on your birds, right?
Right.
Those types of things. Dr. Crespo, if you have anything you want to add.
Yeah, that's so. When I go to flocks, and I know people want to see the birds in the backyard. So one of the very, very important things is consider if you have waterfowl or access to waterfowl. Don't encourage waterfowl or wildlife to be feeding in your yard if you have chickens at this point. So no wild bird feeders, no feeding waterfowl. So you may have your property and then it's a beautiful river just behind the property where waterfowl may land there. So discourage those waterfowl. And if you cannot discourage the waterfowl, do not let your chickens fence it out so your chickens or your own birds do not go and intermingle with that waterfowl, because those are a high risk. So that's where I am just saying people who live or keep their birds in the middle of the city, away from ponds, away from waterfowl, that they don't have wildlife, they are at a lower risk than people may live in a big property where they have waterfowl access. It's just saying that. Now, chickens, and like Dr. Martin said, don't like to be out in the open, because even though there is no waterfowl around or high path avian influenza, there is going to be a flying predator like a hawk or a bald eagle. I mean, they are out there. People are always fighting against those hawks. So to have a covered area where the birds just outside the coop, and at this point you may want just to keep them on that covered area around the coop, that will be a good idea. So that will minimize the chances, reduced chances of getting bird flu.
So I'm glad you just said everything you said, because here is a great example. And we often talk about why we designed the coops the way we do. And we came up with a standard concept where you have a hen house and you have a covered run. And we are huge fans of free ranging, but never did I dream in a million years that having a covered run would be another benefit from preventing from avian flu.
Yeah, it might save their life.
It could very well save their life. And we've been hearing this a lot with customers calling in, asking for emergency run extensions. Because, we do, again, we're huge fans of free range and we know the benefits that it gives the chickens. But what I'm hearing is we just got to be able to quarantine them from the outside world, but we don't want the chickens that, especially if they've been free ranging, they're going to go crazy. They're
going to squawk. We might just have to put up with some complaining.
So right here, Dr. Crespo and Dr. Martin is an example. You know, we have so many examples of coops out there, but our standard go-to is to have that solid roof run. And I often refer to our customers to think of it as the canopy of the forest when chickens didn't have coops already. So one thing that is a thought, and I want to say this was brought up last week when we talked about, well, what do we do to prevent this and why we want to do the show today, is by having that solid roof run is going to help protect the chickens greatly. But I can't remember who said this.
I
but
think I know what you're going to say about the watering system.
Exactly. We are huge fans of capturing rainwater and using that for a water system for the chickens. But if there are droppings on top of that roof, now I'm thinking, man, I wonder if it's cooking it up to 100 and I think Dr. Crespo said 140 degrees or 41 degrees, but I doubt that there's a high risk.
Yeah, we're not summer yet, so.
Yeah, so there's a high risk that we might need to advise our customers that have one of our coops to eliminate capturing the rainwater, because that's just going to that's going to escalate. That's going to be the opposite.
Because that's a lot of roof area to.
That is, you're concentrating things. The coop is beautiful, by the way. I'm not trying to plug your products by any means.
Please do. Thank you.
But you're right. You know, that type of enclosure is exactly what we're talking about. And I couldn't see the details, but you know, we don't know a lot about the little songbird type species. We've got some research and shows in past events and stuff, but for this particular disease event, people haven't been looking and focusing in on them. But based upon other disease events, it wouldn't surprise me if even some of these little songbirds might be getting affected. And so having a nice fine mesh that keeps the little songbirds out, all of that stuff. So that's why, again, the examples like you've shown would prevent disease, but yeah, don't.
Sorry, I hit the wrong. I just pulled an Ingrid. Ingrid, where'd it go?
What are you looking for?
I don't know. It's getting so hot in here. I'm getting all giddy that Dr. Martin just plugged our product. We did not pay him. We did not ask him to do that. But there was, you know,
he just said it was nice.
Yes, no, he said more than that.
He was probably just being polite.
Beautiful example of what we want people to do.
Yeah, so that's why I wanted to bring that up, just to show you guys, because again, this show is about.
It's like when you get a bad haircut and someone says, "Hey, nice haircut."
Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
So, you know, we do this show. I mean, Carolina Coops pays for it. And it's, one, I love to sell our coops, but there's reasons why we build our coops the way we do. But it's often also for the people that are looking to build their own coop. You know, and I always tell people, if you're not going to buy one of my products, then learn from us on how to build it. And this is just the point I wanted to make, is another reason why I can't emphasize enough that solid roof run. And I wanted to show you guys, a basic design where we always have the hen house where they sleep at night and they lay their eggs in the egg hutch. But when they come out, we want them to have as much room as possible. So, you know, because chickens, they get really stressed if they don't have a lot of room. But just another huge emphasis for that solid roof run. But now probably is the time, if you are collecting rainwater through one of our systems, or I know a lot of people make their own system. Gosh, it's so convenient.
So we should stop that. Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe this would be the time to have a nipple water where you don't have an open trough.
Yeah, I mean, all you got to do is eliminate the gutter, but you can still use the rain system,
right?
And and just fill it up with regular water.
But I was also thinking about the more traditional open trough, gravity-fed waters. Mm-hmm. There should be some sort of risk with those as well. Probably less, but.
And I apologize in advance. Unfortunately, I do have to run. It's been a great pleasure to meet you guys. And, if anything else comes up, please let me know, okay?
Absolutely. I know we took a lot of your time. Dr. Michael Martin, thank you. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
Take care.
Take care.
I do have another question. Does this affect humans? We're not seeing any transmission to people. Okay.
Not right now. No. And so they have been... there was several years ago, it was like in 2000, beginning of 2000, it was in Hong Kong, where there was an avian flu, and they by culture, in Hong Kong, they live very close to their chickens. And the chickens were able to pass the disease to humans, but there was no transmission between humans and humans. And there were a few individuals that were severely sick, and a few still. but passed away. But that was in the early 2000s. So this is a different virus, and there is I cannot say, in science you never say never.
Yeah.
So you can say it's a very minimal chance. I joke with my husband when he says, "Oh, you have to be careful." It's like, oh, well, I will be one of the first ones to. I will be one of the first ones to be infected if it passes to humans.
Right.
Right.
I tell you, I was just thinking, and in the back of my mind, I was like, should I ask? Should I not? Do I have my tinfoil hat anywhere? Okay, we don't. So there is another thing I did want to discuss, and I wasn't sure with Dr. Martin on if we should or not, because he works for the state. He's from the state, and there is some chatter out there. You know, they can call it a conspiracy theory, but I can't help but, you know, being a business person, I'm always scared about how will this affect people that have backyard chickens. And in my mind, I'm thinking we have the ability to make sure that this avian flu doesn't negatively affect us and in a huge way, because we have the ability to control and isolate in a high quality manner, raising chickens for meat, and more importantly, which most of our customers do, raise the eggs. And Dr. Crespo said something right at the very beginning of the show that I was like, I really didn't think about it, but it makes sense how severe it can be with the commercial side of things, where I was just assuming, you know, going to a lot of commercial farms, they're all enclosed. So I'm thinking, oh, they got to be protected. But boy, one person walks in with that wet paint on their feet, you can, you know, eliminate the entire flock. And then the other thing is, again, think business. They're not allowed to sell their commodity. So, you know, I wanted to kind of get the doctor's opinion.
So eggs are no longer for sale?
No, well, they can't. You can't take them out of the country or the state, correct? You have to keep it.
Well, if the flock becomes infected, that flock is eliminated.
Right.
So when they have an outbreak in commercial, that in the area that they are like quarantine area, they have to test that flock every day. They have to move the eggs to sell them to the supermarket. They cannot move product. Each day they have to test the entire flock to make sure it's negative while they are in the quarantine area.
Yeah, so it's going to affect egg prices and chicken prices and turkey prices.
Right.
So, you know, me, you know, I love my tinfoil hat. I'm always like, oh, the government's going to say, oh, you can't have backyard chickens because we're the ones contributing to it. But what I'm hearing is the opposite, and I'm so glad to hear that. And I just want to hopefully help a lot of our listeners and viewers that, again, most of them are probably on the fence. Should we get chickens or not? And it's just another box to check that says, yes, I should, because we may not have eggs in the stores because of avian flu. It's just another way to protect yourself from running out of a product. And I just wasn't sure what a state representative would say, especially if they're talking to.
No, and like he said, we are learning every time. So hopefully we improve. Hopefully we don't have outbreaks, but if we had outbreaks, we'll be able to manage them better and isolate the affected animals better. So initially it was like, well, if something is affected, we are going to just kill everything in this area. And now we are testing, and we don't let product to move around. We are actually realizing that we have like different compartments in the poultry world. So it's not just the small flocks that they don't relate to the commercial, but even within the commercial, we know that some, like the turkeys and the layers, they may have business together and they relate together, but maybe the breeders don't relate to them. So they have a compartment that, so when we are talking about the outbreaks, for instance, in the 2020 I mentioned, they were breeders. In here, we don't have any breeders involved, but we do have a few small flocks or backyard flocks, and we have a lot of meat-type animals and a few layers. So they are kind of, they in some way is a fomite, like we said, either like in the commercial, maybe the rendering truck. So when the birds die, they send them somewhere. So when they move with the truck out, they may transfer the disease. I said about the egg, they test every time to make sure that we don't move eggs that may be infected and infecting other flocks. The truck that picks up those eggs is going to go and pick up eggs from other farms.
Right.
We are trying to make sure that doesn't pass around. We have stopped in the small flocks for many of you that may exhibit poultry. They have stopped those exhibitions, and the reason for stopping the exhibitions is not we don't want you to show birds, is we want to make sure, because sometimes they are still in this incubation period that don't show clinical signs. We don't want that you take your precious chicken from the show and then suddenly not only you lose that precious chicken, but you lose the rest of the flock because you are bringing the infection into your flock.
Yeah, it just made me. Oh, I'm sorry. So it just made me realize with the, I saw an email come through the other day for our local tour to Coop.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge fan of people go around, see other coops and how they're building, and we want to help get that show back on the road, but.
Yeah, not in this climate right now.
Yeah.
But we're hopefully we can do it again.
And I just want to clarify too, it's not spread through the eggs. It's the egg delivery that is the concern.
So two things. It can actually pass, the virus will get into the oviduct of the hen, and it can actually get inside the egg. However, that egg usually is going to die. So it's not going to be a chick that is going to hatch and is infected. But if that egg cracks or if it's any poop over the shell and there is the virus, then that can actually pass, the virus can pass around.
Not to humans, but to another flock. But typically we don't take eggs from one flock to be consumed by another flock.
Well, no, but you have, for instance, many of the breeders. Some people actually sell eggs.
Oh, hatching eggs.
Hatching eggs.
Okay.
Yeah. We have so many questions.
Yes. So I wanted to that was going to be the next thing I was going to say, because Dr. Crespo, I don't know how much more time we have with you. If I can steal some more of your time, we would be so grateful. Our viewers would be so grateful. There are so many questions coming in right now. So and I'm glad I see Ingrid over there poking around. I would love to do a rapid fire if we could for the questions, so our viewers can benefit from them staying here, watching. I hope everyone's enjoying it. And just so I can say it again, we are live right now. It is Friday. It is April 8th. We have Dr. Crespo on with us. We just got done talking about avian flu, everything that we need to know to spot it and prevent it. So I hope everyone gained from that. And we also did say we had some health chicken questions.
Right.
All right, let's get it.
And some of the questions that were asked we have already answered, which is nice.
Okay.
So some of the things about not really being able, if you have an infected hen, that you're probably not going to be able to keep it contained to one hen. Basically, if if one chicken in your flock gets infected, it's going to pass rapidly before you even realize, and that it does affect the eggs in the way that you just talked about. But someone said, does the deep litter bedding or deep litter method breed any kind of viruses or bacteria by just using deep litter, or is that a better thing to do?
No, the deep litter is great if you manage right. As long as it's dry, it will actually prevent bacteria from multiplying and actually minimize parasites too. The virus is going to be there. It's going to be with the feces. So if the birds don't consume the feces that they may be in the litter, sure, it's going to die. Like, just because if the deep litter is managed correctly with very dry, that virus should not survive much more than, like I said, with high temperature and dry, more than 72 hours doesn't survive.
Our coops just keep getting cooler.
I know.
Wow. Wow. So not only would that solid roof run, never in a million years would I ever think, because the deep litter is all about saving you time. It is healthy for the chickens. And by, what Dr. Crespo just said, it actually can help prevent the spread of avian flu.
Because you use the hemp, which keeps it very dry.
Yeah, think about it. So you're not in there moving it around, possibly touching wet paint because it can sit there for so long. Having the right litter is going to help dry it out. It's so much cleaner, or it does dry it out. Exactly. So, wow, check another box for the deep litter system. That is awesome.
So we had another question. How, and this is more for Matt, but I want Dr. Crespo. How do you effectively treat lice or mites? And do you recommend that Elector PSP, which is...
I do like Elector because it's organic. It's a spinosad. Is the active ingredient is spinosad.
Right.
So it depends on you are talking about lice and mites, not about the scaly mite, because the scaly mite is probably not going to be affected as much by the Elector. But that works if you actually use the product. Make sure not only to spray it on the bird, but also spray the coop, because they will not, those parasites are not constantly on the bird. They will actually go out of the bird, and they will hide in the crevices of the coop or in the roost or whatever they can. And then once the effect goes away, they will go back on the bird. So just make sure to treat the bird as well as the coop.
What would you recommend for a scaly leg?
For a scaly leg, you can. There are some drugs. You have to go. What I do is actually use Vaseline.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I do.
And the Vaseline does what?
It does smothers the mite. Now that mite has a shorter lifespan than the mite, like the northern fowl mite or the red mite that you see in the vent area. So while Elector or other drugs that are labeled for mites and lice are going to be like every 3 weeks. You treat them every 3 weeks. In the case with a scaly mite, you want at least to put the Vaseline every week.
Right.
Because every week it's not going to affect only the adults. It's not going to affect the eggs. So they will hatch. So you want to put that Vaseline very regular to make sure that when they hatch, they don't breathe and they die.
Okay. So Fishing Matt Ryan had a comment, and he also had a comment in here, and it's the same thing. He said when he bought his chicks, he was told they were vaccinated for Marek's, but he just had to put one down because it had Marek's.
Mm-hmm.
Can that happen? And can you explain about Marek's?
Yes.
Wait a minute, a vaccine not work?
That's not what he
Is that what I'm hearing, or no?
Yep. So that's what they call vaccine failure. So there could be different reasons for a vaccine failure. So one is that what's that noise?
Sorry.
So the vaccine failure could be that the bird was vaccinated. That vaccine is to be given on day one at hatch. And the reason is because the Marek's virus is everywhere in the environment. And they pick up the virus and the virus stays dormant on the bird. So you don't know that the bird is infected with the virus. If you vaccinate after they have been exposed to the virus, then the vaccine is not going to work. They already have the virus. Now, in the event that they vaccinate before they are exposed to the virus, you say, oh, they're vaccinated now. I am going to put them outside where there is the virus, and you don't give time to the vaccine to take effect, then the immunity hasn't developed, so the virus still can reproduce in that bird and produce the disease. Or if you don't clean properly, then there is a heavy load of the virus out there. So it's going to be more difficult for the immune system to overcome the load. And that's where they may get. And the other major problem is those viruses, just like bacteria or even humans, we try to adapt and survive. So the Marek's vaccine, the flu vaccine, everything, the flu virus, they all try to survive.
Right.
So you vaccinate, and the virus actually becomes more virulent and tries to overcome the vaccine. So sometimes if you have a very virulent virus, may actually overcome the vaccine and overrides that vaccine.
One of your doctors had told me that usually after about a year and a half, though, because even if a chicken is vaccinated or unvaccinated for Marek's, that they are exposed to it and will build up enough immunity to not get sick and die from it, because chickens are exposed to it all the time. We're not even aware of it.
Correct. So one of the things is to be exposed and be infected, and another one is to be having the disease. So, and the same happen with the vaccines. The vaccine will protect, any vaccine will protect against the disease. It doesn't protect against the infection. If you become infected, the virus cannot multiply as much. So you have fewer particles that you can shed and less chance of passing the disease. So the same if once you are exposed, if you are exposed with very low levels, you will not develop the disease. Still, the chicken is able to pass the virus to other not protected birds.
Okay. So we have another question. What kind of cleaner should we use to clean the floors after you come from somebody's coop? Or what should we be looking for when we say like biosecurity and cleaning?
So what I always say is the best is not disinfection. Disinfection is like the frosting on the cake. You really have to do cleaning. So the cleaning, the elbow grease that you go and rub, that's what you really need to do. So make sure if you have the shoes, just make sure you don't have any dirt left on the shoes. When I go to visit flocks, I am kind of lazy. So rather than using and cleaning the boots, I actually I cover my shoes. So I make sure I have boot covers everywhere I go. So I don't have, I still, when I get in the truck, I will spray with the shoe just in case there is something, but it shouldn't be the dirt.
What would you spray?
Lysol. You can use a Lysol spray, any disinfectant, because it's a secondary, you have your shoe cover. So I don't expect any dirt being accumulated in the grooves of on the sole of the shoe, because there is already with a plastic boot.
Yeah, when they come to your flock, they are like they're like head to toe in hazmat. They are very good with they're covered.
Right. So what I took away from that is, again, elbow grease, you got to physically remove what the virus could be transporting on. In this case, is the other broke down fecal matter that the virus is on. And maybe when we think about what should we spray, it's more what can be used to help remove that physical material more than try to kill it, if I'm hearing that correctly.
Yeah.
That makes good sense. This is awesome. So we have 3 minutes to 1 o'clock, but Dr. Crespo, if you still have time, I'd love to, Ingrid's doing her due diligence over there. There's more questions if you have time.
Yeah. Do you have a few more minutes, Dr. Crespo?
Sure.
Okay.
Awesome.
Sure.
Thank you.
So they were asking about the rainwater, and if you use the rainwater to water your plants, can the chickens eat the plants? Like, can it get that? Can it, like, if I collect rainwater from my roof,
right, and
I water my garden with it, which I do, can those chickens, if they have duck poop or something on my roof?
Holy, that's a good question.
I would think not, because the plants aren't going to have it.
Yeah, right. But if the chickens go out, I mean, my God, the transferring of the wet paint is.
But if there's like water still on the plant,
well,
like it's not going to be in the plant. The plant's not going to have the disease.
And I agree. And this is where I think is a great question. If you go to agriculture and they put fertilized on a plant, you cannot harvest that plant for certain period of time. And depending where you are harvesting, whether it's a tree or there is like a potato. So you put the fertilizer and you have to wait before that you can consume it. So in that sense, it's just like it never occurred to me. So it's an excellent question. It's like if you are using and the water is contaminated, would the water be in the soil, and if the birds scratch and they pecked on this area, or if there is any reminiscence of the water that you use for the watering on those plants, could that be still the virus there? That's an excellent question. I have no answer for that one, but it's a great question.
Thank you. We also have someone that was saying that in their Facebook groups, they said that once the temperature hits 60 degrees and above on average, that we won't have to worry about the virus. But you guys were saying earlier that wasn't true, that actually the heat,
if anything, it's going to make it worse. Right? Right? Because they got to get up to a certain temp.
Well, the warmer it is, the nicer. But 60 is a very comfortable temperature. It's not going to kill the virus at that temperature. They will survive. So we are like I was telling the people, is that, like, if I live in California or Texas, once the summer hits with 100 degrees and dry, I would not worry about it. But here in North Carolina with the humidity, I don't have all of it with me, because that humidity is going to allow that virus to survive a little bit longer.
Right. And how long do people need to worry about keeping their flock protected, their backyard flocks we're talking about?
Always.
Well, I mean, in reference, yes, but in reference to this virus, do we think when do we think that we might be in the clear?
When can they take the mask off?
Oh, I wish I had a crystal ball, and I tell you, hopefully with the summer, we should be able to do it. If we go back to what other outbreaks have happened, usually they have extended to May. And then June, once that really the hot weather starts in June, we have seen that those numbers going down or disappear.
Can you reuse if somebody had a flock that was infected? Somebody had said here in a question that they heard that they burned down their coop.
No.
That you can clean your coop and be able to use that coop again if you had.
Oh yeah. So what I will do if I was infected, and hope I'm not infected, I really hope that none of you get infected, just leave that coop empty. And if you wash everything, like I said, with elbow grease, like I said, clean everything very well. Once you have removed all the organic matter, then you can disinfect at that time. And then if you leave it for 2 months empty with no chickens, then you can put back. At that time, we think that virus is gone after 2 months.
Aha. Okay, so when I asked, I was kind of hoping to hear something like that when I was asking earlier the question about how long can the virus last. So 2 months, 60 days of guaranteed no possible introduction.
Correct. And you cannot have animals on the property. So you cannot have a chicken or anything like that. It has to be completely empty, so the virus cannot infect anything. So once you clean, you forget that even you have the coop for 2 months. You just don't step there, don't move the virus, just stays there, it's clean, let it sit for 2 months.
Now we have one of our fans that said, when the birds migrate south in the fall, is the disease expected to recur? Like, are we going to get a resurgence when they migrate again?
So usually, like I said earlier in the program, is the ones that are passing most the virus is those birds that don't have, they haven't built up the immunity.
Okay.
So in waterfowl, they usually, they many times don't show clinical signs, but they shed the virus. So hopefully when they migrate south, they are older birds that they already have immunity, so they won't shed as much virus. It's usually the younger birds that the ones that are passing the virus around.
So there's a huge benefit from natural immunity. Is that what it's called? Yeah. Oh, well, cue the helicopter. Yeah. So I always think about business. Imagine that you have this flock that you're like, okay, my birds, this chicken, this hen and this rooster have natural immunity to this strain of avian flu. And then that gene should be passed along to the baby chicks, right? And you could breed this baby chick and say, hey, they are born with that natural immunity, because I know that worked. We were taught that a lot with insects, that certain insects will naturally have immunity to that pesticide. And it's not that they built it up, they already had it, but because they survived and the other ones died, when they start reproducing, they pass along that immunity. So that's literally
now
possibility.
Keep in mind that immunity that they pass from the mother to the chick, it lasts for a very short time. So
it's not going to work.
No.
Dang it.
Well,
okay.
no.
And I wanted to ask, every now and then a backyard flock has a bird that dies suddenly, and that's just a fact of life. If you have one that dies and then none of the others die, could you assume that that's not avian flu? Because it's 100% fatal?
Well, you never assume. It is possible. Okay. It is unlikely. If you think how many small flocks are out there in the United States, and Dr. Martin said like 40 flocks have been affected, so it's like there's very little chance to get. You guys are doing a good job of maintaining the virus away. So if one dies, it may. I mean, I was the other day on a flock visit, and one bird died, and no, it was not. But we actually tested for flu to make sure.
Okay.
And that it was not there. In many states, because there is a current outbreak, they don't charge for the testing. So if you want to test your bird for the flu, just call the state laboratory and say, if I bring the bird that died, they tell you what the problem is, and they actually they will test for flu. So it depends on the state. Some states still charge, but some states will have it for free because of the situation with bird flu right now.
Okay, so if one dies, you may be able to take it to the state vet to have it tested for avian flu.
For free.
For free.
You always can take it to the diagnostic lab. Some states will actually do the testing for free. Some others will have a nominal charge. I think in here they charge like $35 for the flu test.
Mm-hmm. And then someone mentioned taking it to your local vet. That would be very expensive, wouldn't it?
Yeah, the veterinarians are more expensive. They usually a visit will be anywhere between $150 to $300. Usually a private vet.
Yeah.
All right, so I just wanted to mention real quick, and I appreciate our fans out there, and I always forget to say it, that, thank you to Carolina Coops that pays for this show, and anything you guys can do, and I never get to see it on the viewers' end, if you guys can like and share and do all those things to help continue to grow this show, so I want to thank our viewers for mentioning that. Please do that. So we have about, typically we end the show at 1:30. That's usually Ingrid's like, she's over there, okay, got it. Just kidding, she doesn't really do that, but that was funny. I
love how you make me the bad guy all the time.
It's because you are the best person ever, Ingrid, that can never make any mistakes. All right, so do you have any more questions from the viewers? I mean, it just goes on and on and on. I don't want to screw you up over there. And Dr. Crespo, I can't thank you enough for taking the time.
I saw it right there, and I've heard it as well. 15 days to slow the spread, 30 days to slow the spread, and this really may be 30 days to slow the spread, right? Because you said May or June, this should be over.
Oh, so, okay, gotcha.
Hopefully, hopefully.
Yeah. It's just we've heard that before, so it's just it sets off some alarm bells. But we really do expect this to be gone by May or June.
We always hope.
Right. Okay. It has in the past, right? I mean, that's what we're going by.
This is an interesting question. There's a question, are there any breeds that are resilient to the virus?
Not so much the breeds, they are the species. So quail are very susceptible to the virus. The ducks, even if I say they don't show clinical signs, they actually need fewer viruses to transmit between themselves. Like the virus is very well adapted to the duck. So once they get infected, they pass it very well between themselves. They actually need more viruses. In a chicken gets infected, and to pass it to the flock mates, it takes more viruses for that chicken to pass it to the flock mates. But if once it gets in the chicken, it kills the chicken. So it's just one and take. So turkeys are more susceptible than chickens are. Chickens of the domestic species are the most resistant to the virus.
And there is a question, can we put all this information on our web? I know Ingrid does a lot when she gets home. I'm assuming a lot of this information, especially Dr. Crespo, I love I'm going to go back to it real quick, just kind of show off something that we showed earlier, because I know there is a lot of people coming in later, and that's why I do like to mention that
it's the
are
10 tips.
Right.
Yeah, this is the poultry mobile unit, which is fantastic if you're in North Carolina, Raleigh.
And I imagine, Dr. Crespo, you guys stay pretty busy.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
So we will have a link on our website. I'm sure our social media. Ingrid's going to do all those fun, great things. And maybe even, and there's a shout out to all our new viewers on TikTok. Crushing it. Loving it. And if you're not already following us on TikTok, please do that. We're trying to do a lot more of behind the scenes tips and tricks. And I was trying to do one for avian flu, and I didn't know how to even do that, but maybe a snippet of today's show. But Dr. Crespo, so you have the top 10 keep your birds safe from avian flu. So if you're just joining us, we're coming up to the end of the show. We still have another 20 minutes, but what we wanted to do is really educate everyone with the experts what we can do with our backyard flock to prevent it, and if you think there's avian flu, what to do with it. And I love that you have this top 10 things to do to prevent from your chickens, and we'll have that on our website.
Yes, we will.
Awesome. Ingrid promises, everyone. All right. Well, is there any other questions? Hold on. I'm going to get you back. Boy, she gets trigger happy with that mouse.
Well, they have some regular chicken questions.
Do you have time? A couple more minutes for some regular chicken questions? Awesome.
Okay.
Well, I know last time one of the breaking news that we learned was to use apple cider vinegar in our water. That was something that we talked about last time, and there was some debate on how much to put in there. Do you remember?
So it is about 2 teaspoons in a gallon.
Okay.
So it's 2 teaspoons. I heard some people do 3 teaspoons, but I tell you what so anywhere between 2 to 3 teaspoons. But what I do is just get also, the pH strips that you have for the pool, for the swimming pool. So you can, what I like is to bring the pH down to 5.5, anywhere between 6 to 5. So you just dip that in the water and you see what the pH in the water is.
Okay, that's very helpful. Thank you.
Let's see. What can you do for a chicken with water belly?
That usually a water belly chicken, to me, it could be the 2 main things. So one is what they call is a heart disease, and it is secondary to the heart disease, just like happens with humans. And usually that we see it in very young birds. Now, the other major problem may be a water belly in older birds. And if it's in older birds, and I am talking an older bird anywhere 2 years of age or older, and Ingrid, you have some experience with that.
Yes.
It is mostly associated with tumors of the reproductive tract.
Right. So a lot of these things are not, water belly isn't actually a disease. It's a symptom of something else happening.
That's right.
That's what people.
Yeah, what I was trying to do is, can you see it? I was trying to Google it and see if we could bring up some images.
I think what it is, when my chicken had it, it was just that you could see that you could feel that the belly was very, I don't know, liquidy. A lot of times she would also walk more upright than a regular chicken.
That's
walks.
Interesting.
Yeah. That
just made me really nauseous.
So what they call it is a penguin posture, like Ingrid was saying, more upright, because of course it's like pregnant women that they have the balance is off. So the same with that much fluid in the abdomen, they have to balance in a different way their bodies.
Oh, wow.
So it gets up what they call the penguin posture.
Right. Let's see. We got some more questions, I'm sure.
Yeah, there's so many questions, but I definitely wanted to, since we have Dr. Crespo on, chicken expert of all things, and actually not just chickens, poultry too. Pretty much everything birds, and we're coming up to 1:15. I think we can end this with Dr. Crespo right now.
Right.
And we got some more things we want to talk about. And I don't want to bore you with that, Dr. Crespo, but Dr. Crespo, you are the
Never
best.
bore me.
I can't thank you
you
enough for your time. And we hope to talk to you again soon. And hopefully things will start getting better out there.
Hopefully.
And again, just thank you for your time. You are the best.
It's
Thank
such
you very much. You take care.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
So
that is such a great service they have, though. We are so lucky here in North Carolina to have the NC State mobile poultry vet unit that can come to flocks.
And they're booked out, right? They're pretty darn busy, and it's just it's an amazing service. Great people. I tell you, anything that has to do with chickens, There's just always great people. Even a state official, he was super awesome.
Yeah. Maybe we could do a show sometime with her on site.
I was thinking the same thing, actually. I think that would be a lot of fun. All right, so it is 1:15. Just want to thank everyone that's been here. I hope you've enjoyed that. And I did want to get back to our samples because we're talking about industrial hemp. And what another reason to be able to use a bedding that is very absorbent. You know, we got 3 samples here of some industrial hemp, and I'm going to talk about, if you didn't catch why I have these samples here, I'm going to talk about that here in a little bit. But again, I mean, wow. Our coops
they really
are so
look
much
the
cooler
same
than I thought.
on camera, and I'm going to say that they look very similar, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say these all would work beautifully.
Well, they do. Without a doubt,
Yeah.
hemp in general works well. But I'm always looking for the best.
I know.
The best of the best. And our customers expect that. So what we have here is 3 samples of
And I'm the lazy chicken owner, remember? So
Well, I think we're all lazy, and that's why we love how we set up our coops and the deep litter system. I have 3 samples of industrial hemp bedding here. And the reason why I wanted to bring these in, and I don't know the answers either, is we did just get a fresh sample from a new company we are thinking about going to so that we don't have to import it from overseas. And we're doing everything we can get to get the costs down, but we do not want to ever jeopardize on quality. But I wanted to see it. I wanted to see the actual proof, and I don't know if we could talk about that. We're coming up with our own secret blend. Okay, there's a clue there. Secret blend. So one of them.
Oh, is that the mix?
Well, let's not say too much. A secret blend, we're gonna call it, but you can almost spot it. All right, I can tell you right away, and I think you can see this on camera.
They do look very similar. It's hard to see on camera.
Yeah, we're not gonna be able to help.
All right, well, and that's why Nan did bring in the high density. Look, you don't really see that. Which ones do you think are from the cocoon and the product we sell now, which is still a great product?
The cocoon had smaller pieces.
Yeah, but this is dead on, and maybe they're trying to throw us a curve because these look identical, but
Yeah, it could be all in the packaging. Yeah, these might be smaller pieces. I mean, I'm gonna have to taste test it.
you won't. You wouldn't do it. You can't see that. I tell you what. There's my assistant over there, or my Princess Jetta, just getting out of class.
I don't think that's
bring
gonna...
bring that high density in here. Let's see if this does help.
Yeah, I don't think it will.
And of course, if you
It's
guys still have
gonna all
any
look the
other,
same.
no, are you kidding me? I am
To our
shocked.
viewers,
To the
gonna-
viewers. I
this
know,
isn't
but
really gonna
you're
help.
here to you have first hand experience.
And while you're doing that on the cutting board here, Ingrid, tell me. Let's just set it straight. Like, tell me straight up. How worried are you about avian flu?
Ooh.
I think I was worried more in the beginning, very much in the beginning. But but now when I realize the setup I have for my chickens, even though it's not everything is covered, they don't cover a large area. So I feel that I haven't been feeding I haven't fed the wild birds.
Yeah.
So I stopped that. Usually I feed wild birds in the winter, but I stopped that.
It's like we're cutting up some hemp lines
Yeah,
here,
I
folks.
know.
We're getting ready to. Someone's gonna do a fatty right here. All right, was that
But I'm
inappropriate?
always
My
worried
daughter's like,
about
what
my
in the world are you
chickens.
talking
Yeah,
about?
but you're not near. Well, you're not right near a pond or anything.
Well,
but
near
you do
Shelley
have some
Lakes,
lakes.
yeah. But
some smaller lakes near
But
here.
because my chickens are pretty well contained, I think. But you never know. I mean, nobody wants to lose a chicken. I certainly don't.
Yeah, and my concern was really that, we do lose chickens occasionally, and when should we panic? Or do we panic anytime? I mean, I know it's unfortunate when we lose them, but you know what I mean? Like, do we always rush that body to some sort of facility?
I think I would if
in
it
this
died
case.
suddenly. Yeah. I mean, I think any chicken that dies suddenly because we have that resource, I would want to know even before the avian flu. Now I kind of feel like you said earlier, if it's going to get the whole flock. Like there's no way if one gets sick, they're all going to get sick. So if the best thing to do is to prevent it as much as you can.
Right.
I love that Francine says she's less worried because of today's show. Yeah, that's the other thing.
Yeah.
Is I was trying to create a little drama, some doom and gloom, but that there was going to be a answer to the solution of avian flu, and that is a Carolina coop. Or if you are building your own coop, why we do what we do. Okay, so I think our viewers, okay, I'm going to say now, only because I know how I dumped it, is 1, 3, 2. And don't really, okay, so we'll move this around. All right,
gosh.
so this is, what? Are you kidding me? I am shocked. I'll be honest with you.
Oh,
I am
there's some
shocked.
cross-contamination there.
There is no cross-contamination.
It definitely
Okay.
is.
Yeah. I mean, what about this? Where did that go?
It's all Ajax. Don't worry about it. Can you guys see the difference?
It's a little bit more
Yeah.
clear now.
I would use one of these two. Even though they have the darker particles, they have more of the fiber.
But we have learned that the fiber is repellent. Speaking of fiber.
That's not what I saw in my testing.
Oh, well, this is why we do this.
I mean, if you have a bit of fiber here.
Here, have some fiber.
And you put some water on it. Let's see.
Okay, all right, fine. Let's put it to the Hey, hello.
It's like a little cotton ball.
You don't even care. Look at this wonderful nesting material.
No, I like the fiber.
You like the fiber.
I think that helps.
There's some fiber in this.
So what are we saying, Matt?
Did I pick the wrong one?
Well, she just freaking pissed in my Cheerios is what she just
Yeah.
did.
Oh, that's
No, that's
lovely.
fine. That's why we do this, and that's why we do it live. All right, this material right here is the potential new stuff from Canada. If you can't see the difference in the quality as far as color, the way it's been harvested, and we have seen how dust-free they can make it.
No, I did.
Is it too clean? Is that what it is? It's too clean.
Yeah, this is.
You don't like it?
No, I think that's fine. I think that's fine.
No, you can't put a bow on it now. So
there is some fiber in there.
There is very, very minimal fiber, and the fiber is supposed to be the repellent part. But I get it. There were other companies that we talked to. It's like, oh yeah, look how absorbent the fiber is. And I've been told they say that because it's so hard for them to get it out. Definitely see a color difference, but hard to see the fibers, etc. Paul, thank you for
Right.
that. So what I strive for is the color. What does the color tell us? Now, truth be told, and it's ridiculous what I do to really split hairs. All industrial hemp is going to be a great bedding for chickens.
Right.
Okay. But there are people out there selling industrial hemp that is absolute garbage. They don't care what's in it. We do. And I want to make, I always want it. So there's the best product for the best price. And that's why it's taken me years to potentially find a better product where we can get the price down. And one of the biggest costs about importing it from Europe is it's expensive to transport it over. And of course, the States here just haven't caught up yet. It's probably gonna be another 10 years before they catch up to it. That's some good looking stuff. No?
Yeah, it is good.
So what
looking.
you're saying is then we're just gonna have to put it to the test.
Yeah.
Well, part of the reason why we were developing this was a mixture of the bigger fibers and the smaller fibers too.
Yeah, that is
It's
true.
Like there was surface area concerns and we were concerned about dust. So
exactly. So what we're doing is we are working on the special blends where potentially the new company will give us exactly what we want. And that's what they did here. Look at all the different sizes. It's nice and clean. You prefer this stuff, huh?
No, I said
that's what you said on record.
No, initially I said all of these would work.
Okay, so I could be wrong. All right, we need the answers. Nan, are you there?
I think you know.
No, I don't know. Here. All right, I do not know. I specifically told him I don't want to know, but I can tell that if these two look so similar, I'll bet you number 2 is cocoon. I'll bet you number 3 is our normal bedding, which has been phenomenal compared to what I've seen other people selling. This stuff that we just got in, holy cow. All right, Nan, number 3. Give us the answer to number 3, please. Today.
Crickets.
Yeah.
Hold, please.
Fish and Matt Ryan said, does Matt dye his mustache?
It does look like it, doesn't it? So I thought about getting rid of all this and just leaving the dark part so I don't look so white. But yeah, no, that's the real deal.
All right.
The Fu Manchu, the Hulk Hogan. What you gonna do now, bro?
So the answer is no.
Yes.
Somebody asked last week that when we were talking about coop building stuff, Brian Carlin asked, he has laminate vinyl floor plank flooring. Can he use, because he has a whole box that's extra over, can he use that for his floor? Or is it the same thing, like you would have to have
It's the
something
same thing as linoleum. Can you use it? Yes. I wouldn't. Eliminate layers. Eliminate layers. Layers hide things, trap things, cause more problems, like Dr. Crespo was talking about earlier. And I used to say the same thing when it comes to pests. Eliminate the places for them to hide. There's always going to be somewhere for them to hide, but if you eliminate the places for them to hide, it's easier to treat them. It's easier to find them. So I wouldn't. This is why we love, here's an example of the floor to an egg hutch. It's just 1/2 inch thick, high density polyethylene. That's it. There's no layers. All right, Nan, I would like an answer. We got 6 minutes until Ingrid pulls the plug on the show. And I can't thank you guys enough. I hope you've enjoyed today's show. We will have the answers here any day now. And just can't thank you guys enough. And please do everything you can to help promote the show by sharing it, liking it. What else can they do, Ingrid?
They can, like, share, tell their friends, tune in.
Oh, we have something phenomenal coming up.
In 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks, we're going to have another couple guest speakers.
Yeah.
I hope you guys all got a chance. And let me know if you have. If you haven't, please go watch it. Episode 3, called The Turning Point, on HGTV. The show.
Watch all the episodes because they're fun.
Well, really make sure you watch episode 3 because that's the one I'm in. HGTV, Fix It or Fabulous. It was a 4-part series, a 4-episode series called Welcome In. Right. We were in number 3. Oh, she's on. I knew something was up. All right, go ahead, bring it in. Oh, Ingrid can tell us. No, more drama. We need some more drama for entertainment because, So if you haven't seen it, go to HGTV and check that out. But we will have Jenny and Dave on.
The hosts of Fix It or Fabulous.
The hosts of Fix It or Fabulous. And I get to finally talk to them about all the things that didn't make the episode. And I can't wait to hear how things are going with their chicken coop.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a lot of fun.
We're
excited. We're going to have some famous people on the show.
That's wonderful.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So Ingrid.
Yes.
Hemp 3. This one right here is, I'm going with our normal, what we've been selling.
Hang on a second.
Okay, rewind. I'm going on.
I had to find my fat sound
No
effect.
way.
That is the cocoon.
Which one?
Number 3 is the cocoon.
Shut up. There's no way. Really?
Well, that's the same product. It's just in a smaller bag, right?
But they changed it then because I've not been a fan of cocoon.
It looks exactly the same.
So this one is our normal.
Yes.
And then this one over here, this beautiful light blonde, beautiful stuff.
And that's not bleached, right?
No.
Okay.
Good point. No, because in Europe, they just had a tough season. And it sat out there, and it's just, there's so much more to hemp than I ever thought. And now we're really getting into what seeds they're planting, the strain of the plants, and their, who has ownership in those plants so that you produce the best possible, in this case, the herd. And what I am wanting to do is, we got to be special. I want to be the only one that's going to have the ability to sell this particular quality of a product and have our own special blend.
Oh.
And
you should test it right here on site.
And keep if we can ever get around to having our own chicken coop again.
I bet you can figure out
I
how
think
to get that
I know of a coop that you can test it on.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, speaking of Ingrid's coop.
Which I want to say, I was waiting because I really wanted to thank Matt so much for coming out Wednesday and installing my chicken run door.
Oh, how nice.
Because my coop is 15 feet from my bedroom window. And they're loud in the morning when they want to be let out, especially my barred rock. And the first night, I had one walk through it, the barred rock. I figured, well, all I need is one to use the door. That's all I need, because then they all will. So I was like, okay, good. We got the good one, the loud one. And then that morning I woke up and the window was open and I actually panicked. I said, did I not lock up my coop? Did a raccoon kill my flock? Why am I not hearing any noise? And they were all out having fun. So I can't thank you enough.
You are welcome.
And for people that want to install a coop, our chicken run door after you've already gotten your coop, there will be a video on it.
We did a step-by-step video putting in that frame with the Chicken Guardian, which I still love.
Oh, so good.
It is a great, great door. So we're doing, I am dedicated. I know I'm behind schedule this year, but trying to do more and more videos to show people so they can do things on their own, especially even assembling our chicken coops to make it that much easier and showing all the tips and tricks that we have learned and we use out in the field. So you are welcome.
Yeah,
and I
this
bet
is so
you
great.
your husband is much happier.
Yes, we're both happier.
Yes,
Good.
that makes me happy. It's such a great door. When can we expect to see that video?
Anyway, should we be wrapping up soon? I got some.
Yeah,
It is
it's time for
1:29.
lunch.
Hopefully, I will work on it next
I
week.
can't thank you guys enough. We will see you next week. Do we know what next week's show is yet? Have we finalized that?
No, but I'm trying for a guest as well. So.
Nice. So we will be back on next Friday. But again, just a reminder, in 2 weeks, we'll have hopefully Jenny and Dave Mars from the world famous show, Fixer to Fabulous, where we did a chicken coop for, if you haven't seen it, it's called The Welcome In, episode 3 of The Turning Point. I think you guys will love it. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.